Hello folks, my name is Glenn and this is the Cactus Atlas, and today I'm going to take you on an adventure through the middle of nowhere, Utah. Somewhere back that ways. So this is not our primary destination, but this is a freebie, really. The town of Thompson Springs, Utah, right off of Interstate 70, which is right out that ways. And it's an old, I would say, living ghost town is the way Amy described it to me when she gave me information about this place. Ooh, and wouldn't you know it, they have a little helpful sign here about the history of Thompson Springs. So let's go take a look. So we're right here. And to me, it looks like there's an old schoolhouse from 1907 up the road on the other side of the railroad tracks, but there really is no information saying what some of these buildings are over here. But basically, I think this is going to be the route we're taking. So this is fortuitous that I've come across this here, because really this is where we want to go, into this canyon here, Sego Canyon. And along the way, just as this says, there's a lot of old ancient rock art, pictographs I even hear, from a culture that were contemporaries of the Anasazi, known as the Fremont culture. So this is very worn with time here, but this matches the research that Amy did on this place, where Thompson Springs was a very important railroad hub in the early 1900s, all the way through the 1950s, I believe. The thing that I read made this town significant is, up the road when we're gonna go to Sego Canyon, an old coal mine, which isn't our usual thing on this channel. It's usually gold or silver or copper. They had a railroad actually connecting this town to that to connect with other main railroads. So it was really an important railroad hub. And I think the town of Sego helped to make this place what it ended up being. This is probably someone's home. Like, you can see the old wood tile roof on that. And this corrugated metal. You have to wonder, was this a shop? Was this someone's home? Someone's garage, maybe, for their car? This would have been the age of the automobile, probably. Even in the earliest times, I wouldn't be surprised. This seems to be open, and there's no signs. There's no trespassing signs everywhere else, but this one doesn't. Maybe they left it open for us to explore. Like an old furnace or something, it looks like, right? And very bouncy wood floors. Looks like someone may have been eating in here and living in here at some point, perhaps taking shelter. This is a classic one. Definitely a classic. Look on the inside of that, like whatever that is, a furnace or oven, probably some heating element. There's like brick on the inside. Anybody know what that doodad is? It says Charter Oak. So yeah, who knows? What is this? What was this? Perhaps that's all been lost to time. But if you know what to do. And this here is the old Thompson Motel. This looks like a classic to me. Maybe from the age of Route 66 style motels or something like that. It's a beautiful one. Definitely a lot of no trespassing signs, so we can't really poke our heads inside there, but this is a beautiful leftover, I would say. It really is a beautiful old building. I love stuff like this. And actually, if we look at this side of the sign, you could still see some of the tubing up there for the neon. I wonder when the last year that sign was lit up was. This has the look of a haunted house. These are other really old residences. You can literally see through the shingles in the roof. I see like glimmers of light every once in a while as I walk through it. It's so overgrown. And someone's got a big old boat in the back. So these are all private residences. but they certainly look of the era to me. These are the facades of America that I like to bring people, because this really wouldn't be convenient for most people to stop and see, and it would be really easy to forget about history like this, but this once was a place that had a heartbeat. Oh, this is the schoolhouse, established 1907. I think I need to go check this out. It would be improper not to, I would say. Wow, they must have renovated this or taken really good care of it. Oh my gosh, you can hear an echo of the train. Like there's a delay of like 5 seconds, and then you hear it off in the canyons behind us. Amazing. And here's the rear of the 1907 one-room schoolhouse. So this should be dating, giving you an idea of a lot of the things, the time frame we're going to be studying on this episode today as we make up our way in Sego Canyon. And then up the road 2.5 miles are ghosts. I think those represent pictographs, the weird paintings the natives left in this area. It appears they left this, they took really good care of this. Somebody did. Because it looks almost new. I'm sure it's had some renovations done. I can see there's a padlock on the door, which isn't a surprise. So if you went to school here, that would be your view when you were on playtime. I wonder if to the people that lived here after a while, does that novelty wear off of that landscape, or does it always remain? I would have to imagine always. I mean, look at the clouds today and those views. I think my job today is going to be pretty easy. I don't think we're covering long distances, first of all, so I think things are pretty much boom, boom, boom. But, the history of this area is one thing, but the landscape makes my job really easy, was my point. And Utah is unbelievable, just the variance and amount of different looking landscapes and colors. This is more orangey and not red rock, but very beautiful. So we're 4 miles, I think, from Sego Canyon. I don't know the correct pronunciation of that, by the way. I'm taking a guess. I'm gonna guess it's either Sego, Sego, or Sego. So I'm going with Sego, trying to slip it by you that it's like Sego. Like, do you know if I'm saying Sego or Sego? And for you non-off-roaders, I think about you also. This is paved so far. I think we're gonna hit some dirt at some point, but we'll see. It's probably something that any vehicle can do, kind of thing, my guess. Although there are lots of potholes back here, so drive carefully. Don't pop a tire. All right, Sego Canyon Rock Art. And I'm getting here just as others have arrived, but that's okay. I have some things that I can do to prepare before we go in there. Here's looking back the way we came, up Sego Canyon from Thompson Springs and Interstate 70. And here I'm at the rock panel art, the Sego rock panel. And there are these pictographs here. Some amazing ones up there, really weird, freaky ones, and you gotta wonder how they got up there in the first place. All right, now these are pretty cool. You see them really lit up by the sun, and you see someone's name. Is that Clay Whipple or Gay Whipple? How would they have gotten up there to do that? They would have had to have ladders. But very strange symbols. Very unlike the ones that we see in Arizona. You don't see scary looking, ghastly looking figures like that. But you can see a couple bighorn sheep up there also, and then some things that I have no idea what they are. Fortunately, you can see any interpretive signs have been erased with time, which is kind of ironic because these people's markings have survived the test of time. And one recommendation I can give you too is if you have a camera, your phone could probably get the job done, but you know, you do see a lot of these from a ways off, especially the ones where you first park. So having some zoom capabilities will go a long way for you here at these petroglyphs and pictographs. One of the main panels is right over there, and I see like human looking figures and horses maybe, deer, and then even modern graffiti like an F and a B. So who knows when that was done, but it's unfortunate. Over here you can get a little bit closer. All right, I'm having troubles getting some of these panels to myself. There are people just hanging out and chatting, but you can see a big one there. So I'm gonna do this in reverse order from what I probably should have done, because that's the best one I've seen yet. But I saw some from across the way over here. I don't know if we can get in there because it says no trespassing, but there are little trails that maybe we can get a peek at some of these pictographs. So some of these things certainly are pictographs painted on, and you can see some on the rocks back here too. But apparently this is someone's private property and they want to keep it all to themselves. But there are some really scary looking ones back there. You see those? They have all these really weird figures. This culture out here, you'll see a lot of that. I want to say it's the Fremont culture, contemporaries of the Anasazi. Perhaps a more preferable way to say that are contemporaries of the ancestral Puebloans, the cultures that were at Sego Canyon. It's too bad though I can't sneak in there, and that's private, because those are neat, and like at ground level too. They look like ghosts. And that's turning back looking at Sego Canyon, but I want to go up here to the what I would say is the big panel of interest here from what I've seen. I think I see even more travelers showing up here now, so I won't have this panel to myself for much longer. But isn't that cool and kind of freaky? Like that one with the two big eyes. These are things painted by people that didn't have a written language, who we couldn't really know what they were thinking when they did this. And why do you see so many pictographs depicting these like human figures up here? Similar to ones we saw like at Buckhorn Wash pictograph panel a couple years ago. Yeah, I mean, these things give me the creeps sometimes. There's some that we saw that they have figures like that with like holes carved in the middle of their chests. I think people have surmised were those people that were sacrificed or something. You know, what do these things signify? Why did someone take the time and the risk to go up high there and do that? My theory is that these are some kind of religious things, that maybe this is where they did ceremonies, and this would have been perfect if someone was kind of like a shaman was preaching or something up above on these rocks. And think of our modern day churches and all of the artwork you see like in a modern day Christian church, for example. Maybe these were their gods and their stories, their creation stories, maybe their history, the history of their people or different people that were involved. But why do they all look so creepy is what I want to know. think I found all four. I think I was reading Amy's notes, and I think the fourth panel that she had written about was the one on private property. There are lots of washes back here with running water, as you can see, so this is probably a trickle. I didn't see a lot of snow on the peaks around here. They probably had some. As cold as it is today, I wouldn't be surprised, but even though the conditions today look really easy, that could be different on any given day. Wow, it just gets more and more beautiful back here as we go deeper in. What is that? There's a pin on my map. Amy put a pin on my map. I need to consult what it is. It doesn't say on the, I just see the pin. It doesn't say what it is. I can't select it. There's a sign here though. What is this here? This is, I don't know what that says. I don't know what that says. Looks like there's an old building down here though. I'll look on my phone and see what notes she left me here, but this wasn't expecting surprises. Wasn't expecting any other surprises here. What we got up here? There's like an old building, like an old, really old looking building. I wonder what this is. I'll just park right over here. Oh, look at that too. That's a really neat looking road. I don't know, are we gonna get to go up that road or not? I have to consult. Maybe it was good that I pulled out my map book, or my digital map after all. So what Amy had pinned on my map is the Sego Cemetery, the actual cemetery for the ghost town that we're gonna go see, which I always like to visit because you can like date and see, you know, get a sense of the truth of how old the place is. However, my offline maps are weird. Usually out here with GPS, it's a little spotty or something, and I can't tell which way I'm pointed on my map. Like, that takes time for the arrow to orient itself. So I'm not sure if we're going this way yet, down through here, which I hope we are, because that looks fun, or further up this way, which is what I thought, you know, looking at that hand-drawn map we saw. So I'm not sure, but whatever the case, we found an old building. I don't know if there's a cemetery down this ways too, but this looks like a classic to me, whatever this was. Probably someone's home that worked out here, mined, maybe ranched, farmed, I don't know. That's a beauty. Looks like it's made with the same color stone as the rest of here, so I think that foundation is going to last a long time, but you could see the roof is almost completely gone and demolished. And I do see round-headed nails, no like square-headed nails, so this isn't like, I don't think, an 1800s relic, and it had like a corrugated metal roof also. There could be, there's like a pit over there. I don't know if that's a mine. I would highly doubt it, but let's go take a look. All right, there is a pit of sorts, but it's not a mine. Looks like it may have been an old cellar, and now that's all collapsed in. That was probably the floor above, and they had a little basement going on there. Very neat. It'd be kind of cool to excavate all of this and see if you could find any old coins or something like that, but I'm sure it's probably been picked clean by now. And just as I turn around, I realize how beautiful this direction looks. And you can see a little bit of snow on that really pointy peak up there. So I guess I was wrong, that is probably some snow melt, the remains of the snow that we saw trickling through the washes, but I imagine it was much stronger a few days ago. I did think I saw an arch listed on the map up there, and there's a little bit of an arch up there. I don't know if that is worthy of even giving a name as an arch. Maybe. It's an arch. Unless I go around here and I see it disconnected because the view is being blocked by the rock in front of it, but what do you know? Probably an arch. If I could stop just getting hypnotized by these rock landscapes and the shadow of the clouds flying over. Everywhere you see, this is like the perfect day, and I'm fearful, I think, that the cloudiness is about to go away soon, because this is the last of the front that blew through here. So there's a cemetery back there that I was going to stop at, but there's a pair of people traveling together, taking photographs and if they're at the cemetery, they may take their time there. So I can go up here and try to take my time at the ghost town. But I'm going to assume the town is big enough for the both of us. Some of these other sites are just really compact and small, so it's also awkward, you know, to show up and be like, hey guys, mind if I YouTube? So I would say with pretty decent confidence, you do not need high clearance in general, except for maybe the case of the washes, and that's probably intermittent. Other than that, this is a very well-maintained road in my opinion. Oh, I see an old house. You see that? I think we're at the map pin, so we're gonna explore this on foot, of course. But I see the first evidence of a ghost town and an old railroad trestle from the railroad they built that connected Thompson Spring to here, I think. So is this, like, do they let you disperse camp up in here too? Maybe. Already, this is a primo ghost town, I can tell you. Like, if everything is what I think it is, like the old part of the train track, that piece of history, plus, you see that building way off there? I am already floored with the views to boot. This is gonna be a really good one. Wow. This thing has like dirt for a roof with wooden beams and then like these rock walls. This, I bet, was some kind of storage, maybe a garage for an old-timey vehicle or piece of equipment. That'd be my best guess with a door, a portal that large, like that. You can see there's very well-worn trails going through here too, and here come people, so hopefully we can enjoy these spots to ourselves. But you can see there's old foundations, old rock walls here, and there's a good view of the roof. And then for these, the purpose is maybe lost to time. Maybe there are town records somewhere. Maybe somebody that watches this knows, but maybe these were miners' cabins. Maybe this was just a private residence of someone, the foreman. I almost think, my guess is maybe it did have like one room. Looks like the size of one room, one after another. So I wonder, to me, if this was like a row of like miners' shacks or rentals or something like that. That would be my best guess. It's one of those really striking and beautiful experiences to be here and feel all of it, feel the warm sun with the cool air and see those sights and the clouds and put it all together. And it's one of these experiences that's really impactful and burns into one's memory. So I'll remember the details of this, I can tell you, long after today, unlike many other things I've done in my time. If this is what I think it is, this is spectacular. I don't remember if it was in Amy's notes or on the sign back there, but what this, I believe, is the railroad they built from this coal mining town down to Thompson Springs, where we started, that I think hooked up with other railroads to ship out the coal. So this place was significant enough to have a railroad line built to it. So keep that in perspective. So if you could take yourself back 100 years or so, this place was probably pretty booming. So you can clearly see the grading here, like the slant, where the railroad tracks would have gone. It's all leveled off up here. So, you know, it kind of probably follows the road. I don't know exactly where it went, but that's another cool thing. And then to boot, no rails left. But you know what? Maybe it's possible that this wasn't even for the railroad. I bet it was, though. Something tells me it was, but this could have easily just been a bridge for old-timey vehicles. All right, so that was stop number 1 on an unknown tour. The people that I was referring to that were at the graveyard just arrived as I finished up there, and I think we're just trading places, I hope. I think she's parking up where I was, and then they'll probably take their time there. There's another piece of bridge right there to the left more of continuation of that. And you can see on the left, that is grading. That whole little mound there, like that is like where, whatever that was, road or railroad. I'm gonna go for railroad. I'm feeling it, you know, I'm feeling that seems right. I forgot that Amy made me 2 documents, and the one document does have a lot of information in there, so now I can help say what stuff is. This is the American Fuel Company store. A couple things, yes, I confirmed on that document that was indeed the railroad bridge. Both of them that I saw, the one that I took you to and another one that I drove by, and I think that grading is right there. So the railroad must have come in right up here somewhere. And then once again, this is the American Fuel Company store, is what it says on the document. So I don't know. Let's go see if we can go inside of it, actually. I think we might be able to, for sure. I was seeing dates in the article, like a lot of like 1911s, so possibly this is a relic of that age. I would fathom a guess that it is. I'm just keeping this kind of like a discovery episode because it's so off the cuff and it was so unplanned that, and I didn't have time to research, so I'm not even gonna try to sound intelligent. I just wanna discover it with you and enjoy this day out here. It's kind of curious how they had that large opening in the back. I wonder if that was a way to load stuff, like onto the railroad maybe, onto a dock of some sort, and to receive goods that way perhaps. Maybe it was a 2-story building and it had a really big window. It almost looks like if these were doors originally, that maybe this is filled in with dirt over time and silt from all the runoff. I really don't know. I wish I knew more about that. But what do you know it? I bet you people camp in here. This would be an ultimate camping destination and very safe from all these high winds that I just cannot seem to escape. Just look at this beautiful architecture in here too, all of those wooden beams. And you still see wood where there were windows. So, yeah, this is probably I would say, what do you think, like a 2-story building? Or was it a cellar down here and it was like 1 story with a really high ceiling in it and really large windows? All right, now we have to, the obligatory must go in. I might have found some of the railroad rails. I don't know if that was original construction or something put in later to fashion an entrance in here. Lots of modern petroglyphs. A petroglyph of a microphone. One day maybe that'll survive thousands of years. You never know. Know what that is? What kind of car? And you know, without exception, you have to have bullet holes in rusted out vehicles in the middle of nowhere. It's a prerequisite. right, our last stop on the tour is the cemetery. The place was around long enough to need a cemetery, so that should give you an indication that there was once a lot more activity out here than you find today. Always a sign. Now, when it's your time, as these folks well know now, it's your time, and there's nothing we can do about it. But when that time comes, why not be buried in a place like this? You can usually tell the age of a cemetery if you see wooden crosses and wooden monuments and headstones, and I see a few wooden crosses still hanging out. And there's that view that these people have here. This thing here right in front of us, and just following it down with that perspective right there, and how that whole canyon converges in like almost like a funnel at the end. Amazing. Now we'll get on in there. Like the information that I was reading that Amy provided me indicated that you do have some victims of the 1918 flu, Spanish flu. So that's gonna help us date a little bit of, you know, what was going on out in these parts at that time. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of the people buried here is for that reason. This is a curious monument. Either it's just broken with time or that was intentional. Maybe intentionally placed here by someone years later, I don't know. I saw some more modern looking monuments in here, and look at the canyon down below where we're gonna drive when we leave. Sorry, I got distracted there. Here's one that I bet you has a good chance to be a 1918 flu victim. Giovanni Ascani. He died on November 10th of 1918. He was born in Italy in 1883. Here's a little baby's grave, Stortini. Born, died same day, I take that? July 24th of 1926. I assume it died the day it was born. And a lot of nameless graves now too, is very common in cemeteries like this. Imagine if the spirit of one of these people could come and talk to me and have a coherent conversation and tell me about life here in their time and what they did. Probably worked in the coal mine. They could tell us about the flu pandemic that hit the globe at that time. Here's a more recent monument there. Looks like a Army veteran, Vietnam vet that died in 1995. Sheldon F. Bay. Some of them don't have markers at all anymore, and they were probably wooden, would be my guess. I thought this was a nice looking headstone, and I was confused. I was like, oh, it looks like it's made with a native sandstone. There's no writing on the back, but there is on the front. The bars kind of partially obscure it. But you can kind of make out 19 something 5. I almost wanted to say 85, but I don't know. I bet it's not. I bet it's something older than that. But who knows? It's always one of my favorite things to do is to visit the cemetery that accompanies a ghost town, because that's the most real and human link to that past. Structures are also amazing, of course, but to me, to really understand that, yeah, this was a small community, you just have to seek out death. I'm gonna leave you with this $1 million view here, standing in Sego Cemetery. Hope you had as much fun as I did, and I thank you for coming along with us, and we will see you on the next one.